Hello everyone, and welcome to Slay the Spire 2. Today we're playing Regent on the Ascension 1, and yeah, we start off immediately with removal of 2 cards. That's a solid choice, pretty much on any character at the moment, so the best one for me at least is definitely Transforms. Transforming 2 cards, and just 1 card is also fine, but removal is pretty much good as well. So every time I go into the Regent runs, my aim is to go for the star build. Build up a star generation and some spenders and just have at it. Because I've never had an opportunity to do so, and this run was no different. I started off looking at some star options, some blocks, some generation, but it quickly went the other direction, and yeah, we are going to soon pick up some Sovereign Blade generation, and from there on, it just becomes a blade run. But still, it was a good one actually. For an Ascension 1, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Usually, I ran the Regent in multiplayer, and yeah, Sovereign Blade in multiplayer on high ascensions didn't exactly work for me. It might be different in the solo play. I haven't gotten far yet, but it felt a little bit slow without some supporting cards. But luckily, we do find some supporting cards for it. So also what's the name of the card? The Bulwark, the one we just picked up, the 2-mana block card. Yeah, Bulwark that generates the Sovereign Blade. It's so good. It's I don't know. It's a massive amount of block, or maybe not massive, but definitely a good amount of block, and also generates your attack, which retains. So like, there's almost no downside to it besides the cost. So solid choice overall, and yeah, it's easy to run with this build because all you have to do is find a little bit of forge. Like you don't have to go a lot forge, and actually it's probably best not to go for a lot of forge for this build, simply because you'll run into a problem of just pulling the forge, but never pulling your Sovereign Blade to actually deal damage. So, and also you will struggle with the AoE fights, where you can do a one big hit for 2 mana, and then you're about to take a whole bunch of hits from the enemies. And yeah, here I actually picked up Tyranny, and I just wanted to try it out. Really, there's no, like, the deck works without it. It's probably better without it, but I figured that we might need the exhaust. Like, I didn't pick it up for the for the strength or whatever. I picked it up simply because I want to thin out my deck as the fight goes longer, because our Sovereign Blade is going to scale, and we want to pull it back into the hand as soon as possible, and for that we need a thin deck. So one way of achieving that is obviously just removing cards, or slash and not adding any cards. Oh yeah, it's not giving strength, sorry. It's giving you extra draw. So yeah, that one way is just removing cards, the other way is just having some extra extra draw. And in this case, with the Tyranny, you get both, right? You get to remove a card for the fight, but also draw more. So you'll see your Forge cards, you'll see your Sovereign Blade a whole lot more often. And realistically, I was hoping to find the power that makes your Sovereign Blade AoE as soon as possible, That's it's probably not the requirement for it to work, but it helps so much. And yeah, here I got a phone call, so let me just skip ahead a little bit. Sorry about that. Yeah, there we go. Somewhere's here is good. That's a good thing about pre-recording these runs. I get to get distracted, and I won't have to restart the recording or go back and edit and whatever. So some silver lining for me here. And yeah, this fight I actually don't like all that much, simply because it's so hard to block all that damage. Same with the bird fight on this floor. So you kind of have to, you know, be fast with dealing damage. Luckily, that's exactly what this deck does. We deal a lot of damage, like right off the back. By blocking with the bulwark once, we're already sitting at 20 damage for 2 mana, and it only goes up. As you've seen, there are a couple of cards used, and we dealt 66 damage at that point. So now we're just waiting for the Sovereign Blade again to show up, and then we win. That's it. 70 something damage, floor 1. That's very good. 7 stars. I've never seen it before because I recently unlocked it. So I was looking at it and thinking, maybe I can still make the star deck with it, pick up hidden cash after all. But yeah, that's a bit too expensive. Like, we don't have that much generation, so yeah, this is the point where, all right, I figured I'll pick up the Astral Pulse for some AoE damage while we're lacking it, and might as well upgrade it here because that's the only source of AoE damage we have. And look at that, that's exactly when we needed it. And yeah, we should have everything we need for this fight. We have Sovereign Blade to quickly deal with one target. I use the weakness potion on the multi-attacker, so they deal 0 damage. Realistically, we didn't really need to do that. We could have spared some HP, but it's fun. It's fine. So yeah, we're waiting for Astral Pulse and a good target for Sovereign Blade. We just need to scale it up a little bit. So that's probably what we're going to do. Astral Pulse, get rid of most of the enemies, block for the rest, and yeah, Sovereign Blade doesn't even need to be used right now. That's a bit of a problem of this deck. Like, here you have a couple of low HP targets that need to be just taken out one by one, but your Sovereign Blade deals a lot of damage, so it's quite a bit of an overkill for 2 mana. So you need some smaller attacks still to kind of finish the job the Sovereign Blade could not. Cosmic Indifference, always good. Again, anything that draws or pulls the cards back from the discard pile is good. With pretty much any deck. Like, you just get to dictate the pace of the fight by reusing your stronger cards. Hegemony was a consideration there briefly. 2 mana though for AoE didn't feel right, especially since we have the Astral Pulse and a little bit of Star Generation to go with it, so I skipped it. Maybe I would have been better with it, because Astral Pulse can sometimes come up before we have the stars, but so far our deck is thin, so we're not too worried about it. Yeah, getting the Forge back, since I want to finish this fight quickly. Debating on using the Falling Star, because the enemy has the artifact. Would have been fine to use it, but really we're on our way to finish the fight already. Yeah, the Forge and 40 damage, that's all you need. Convergence, I like that card, or at least the idea of it, but it's so tough for me to use it. I can never find the right moment for it. It's a bit slow. Like for one energy, you get extra energy next turn with no immediate effects. It's I like the idea of it, but I would love to have it to have some sort of block on it or something that I could immediately gain from it. Like the new prep on the silent on the battle branch, even in its nerfed form, it still feels better simply because even though it costs 1 mana and it gives you 2 energy next turn, this turn you do get your discard. So you know you get some immediate payoff, whereas the convergence, there's nothing. You just waste 1 mana to get something on the next turn. I shouldn't say waste. You use 1 mana. I mean, it could be good in certain situations, but generally, yeah, I avoid it for now. Even though I would love to pick it up. Now, this fight, the Waterfall Giant could be problematic with the amount of block I have. Luckily, though, again, we have Forge. So every time we pull our Sovereign Blade, we're going to deal a whole lot of damage. Unless, of course, we decide to block. It's not the end of the world, because we will deal more damage next time we use the Sovereign Blade. And to be fair, here it's probably better to Bulwark and block the damage, but I'm just rushing to finish the fight. Astral Pulse was also a solid choice, but I knew that I will get Falling Star, so that's immediately something that ends the fight for you with the Sovereign Blade. Just vulnerability and you're good to go. And here, all we really need is defense, so that's what I'm going for. I should have probably kept the Reflect, but I counted that I won't have enough stars. And then I realized I will have enough stars because I have star generation in hand. But it worked out fine. Make it so. Briefly considered, but then I saw the I saw the power that makes your Sovereign Blade AoE, and that's the end of the story, really. Like our AoE fights are now solved. We have good force generation. We have solid block. Realistically, at this point, I shouldn't probably even consider that many cards to be added to the deck, simply because we're fine. But I cannot resist picking up cards from time to time, so that's definitely not the last pickup we have. But again, at this point, the fights become quite simple. Buff your Sovereign Blade, block if you have to, and just have at it. Right here, what's this, turn 2? Turn 3? Turn 3. Yeah, the enemy is already at the half HP, and the moment we have our Sovereign Blade back, the fight is pretty much over. I did not regret. I was disappointed seeing Falling Star here and not the Sovereign Blade together with it, because then the fight would be over on the spot. And instead, we have to have another turn, which is not too crazy, but I do love moving fast. And yeah, without the vulnerability, we didn't have enough damage, so I ended up using a potion, which again I probably didn't have to, but we moved fast. And we got Conquer, which is just an amazing card. Fencing Manual, again, a very solid choice, especially for our deck. I briefly considered other options, but realistically, Forge 10 right off the bat, there's no downside. Like, that's extra 10 damage for our sword immediately. So, solid choice overall. I probably should remove a card at this point. The Smith was an interesting consideration. We do have stars for it, but yeah. Seeking Edge here didn't really matter, simply because there's only one enemy, but Forge 7 is still good. I didn't use it simply because we could deal double damage, so that was kind of the whole point of picking up the Conquer, to use it together with the Sovereign Blade. And yeah, we went ahead and grabbed the Sovereign Blade back from the draw pile, just so we can use it this turn together with the Falling Star. Astral Pulse made no sense here, simply because there's just one enemy, right? So yeah, I consider just blocking and buffing the sword, just so we can, continue moving with the fight. But again, spoils of battle, Sovereign Blade. You get both and you're fine. At this point, Star Potion made no sense. We are not relying on the stars all that much, so just get rid of it. Get Skill Potion, pull a block, a clutch block, and yeah, here we have realistically one good option: Seeking Edge, upgraded one. I figured I'll take it for two reasons. First, actually three reasons. First, I'll have two Seeking Blades, meaning that edges, meaning that I am likely to run into it sooner, especially earlier when I really need it. I don't want it to be at the bottom of the deck, right? Second of all, it gives, I believe, 11 Forge, which is just a good number. And third, I figured, well, if anything, I have Tyranny running, so I can always just get rid of the other one once I have it running. So, it's negating one draw for me, but it's not the end of the world for the safety of having it most of the time when I need it. So, and worst comes to worst, and I realize I don't really need the second one, I can just remove it in the shop and be happy with the results. Corrupted Pyramid does a couple of big hits. I was lucky to have my weakness and Bulwark ready, Cloak of Stars as well. And the best part, of course, is that the first time you damage the Pyramid's health, you gain 1 energy back. So that means the Sovereign Sword gets a 50% discount, and I get to use it together with a Bulwark or any other card combination. So overall, just a good idea. And this is where it kind of pops off. Another Bulwark instant pick. Maybe I didn't need it, but again, more options to get it when we really need it. So made sense. Here we didn't get Seeking Edge when it would have made a great impact. Luckily, we find it next turn and we get rid of the other one. Could have probably used both, but yeah, we're low on energy, so we get to play with what we've got. AoE, just to speed things up. We still block, so we lost nothing by using Sovereign Blade there, although Bulwark was also a good choice. I'm looking at the Reflect right now and thinking, can I use the Hidden Cache with the Reflect? And the answer is, of course, I don't have to, because I have Bulwark. I just like Reflect as a mechanic. Like the enemy deals damage to themselves, but of course I had better options in there, so that's what we went for. Cosmic Indifference, just to pull something back. And yeah, we forge again, and at this point our sword is dealing a whole lot of energy, a whole lot of damage. And yeah, we're just looking for the sword, and that's it. Unfortunately, we get Conqueror on the turns when we don't need to use it, or we cannot use it, or it makes sense not to use it. So a lot of the times it will be just a dead card, really, and that sucks. But then again, we didn't need it. Like you've seen it right here. Enemy had 59 damage. We were dealing 70 already. So you know, who needs double damage anyway? Third bulwark picked up simply because I like my defenses. You know, I don't have to use it every time I see it, but I will be happy to see it more often in the later fights, especially like fights like this. Here, Tyranny just proved to me that it's a very good card regardless of the deck you're building, simply because you get to get rid of the statuses that the enemies drop on you. It's incredible. I officially love that card now. I'll be trying to pick it up more and, you know, seeing what else it can trigger. You know, maybe some exhaust synergies. Although I don't believe Regent has any, but still. And yeah, here, like already on turn 3, we deal 57 AoE damage. It does cost us 2 mana, but still, like, it scales. Like if you compare it to, I don't know, Grand Finale from the Silent, which requires quite a bit of a setup and deals only 50 damage, although it's free. But all the setup and lack of retain, and then you get and here you get to, you know, deal 80 damage AoE on turn 4 or 5 or whatever. It's insane how quickly it scales. And this is why I said in the beginning that you don't exactly need a lot of forge cards to make it work. Like, you know, 2 is probably more than enough. And yeah, here I'm just looking for anything. We got a potion. Best of all, we got Bag of Preparation. Absolutely love that relic. Prophesize, draw 9 sounded cool, but we don't need draw. Like, we are so low on energy. We're at 3 energy, so drawing 9 cards for 2 does very little for us, because we'll have only 1 energy left to play anything. So unless we're looking for something very specific at that point, we don't need it. And yeah, here Seeking Edge was just MVP. Like, we are already doing what, 44 damage? We did get weakened, which kind of messed up my math here quite a bit, and if I'm not mistaken, I did lose more health here than I should have. But you know, it's alright. Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing something, because we should have. Yeah, that's the one. Whoops. Yeah, we had Conqueror to actually finish that enemy off. Even without the double damage, the Forge was more than enough. And whoops. We almost had all the enemies, come back. Summon Forth, I believe was the name of the card. Again, just amazing for our build. We get to pull our Sovereign Blade back from the deck, while also forging, so like more damage, and you get it back. I'm not sure what else to say here. At this point is just finishing up the fight, trying not to take too much damage, trying not to lose gold, which of course we lose because we couldn't get rid of it in time. But yeah, we can break the block, so we're happy. We also draw again, which means an opportunity to get the sword back, and we get it. That's it. Refined Blade looked very good. You get to forge and you get an extra energy next turn, but once again, we're kind of done with the deck. Like I said in the beginning, we already have all the pieces we need to win this run, so it comes down to not making mistakes like I already did, and also keeping the deck thin. Sorry, had to reply to a message here. This fight is actually a bit bad for us, simply because we still need to scale our blade and deal damage to the enemy for 2 mana, but we also need to use the retreat to not get one-shot by the enemy. And we also need to block, because the enemy actually does some decent attacks here. So it's manageable, and it's not too bad, especially with our scaling. But I definitely felt like a couple of bad draws might cause some issues. So I was a little bit more careful. Even though I still try to move faster, but a reflect for 30 damage back to the enemy. That's why I love that card. Yeah, getting rid of AoE and Sovereign Blade, just keep dealing damage and trying to survive. Now, 20 damage, we could probably... Actually, we don't have that many strikes, so strikes won't do it for us, but we have our minions that can fetch the blade for us, summon forth, and that's what wins us the fight here. Yeah. Foregone conclusion. I thought it would be a good idea, simply because I could pull some of the cards that we need from the draw pile, but realistically, it's a poor choice. Like we are starting to bloat our deck, and we didn't need it. Like, if we keep our deck thin, we'll get our Sovereign Blade anyway. We also have Summon Forth, which just gets us the blade anyway. So we have 2 possibilities, 3 if we also run into the grabbing the card back from the discard pile. So we had all the tools. That was a poor choice by me, and I wouldn't say that I came to regret it, but it just wasn't doing anything. Draw 2, same thing. I thought I needed, but probably not. It's like I said, I cannot resist picking up cards, and in the first Slay the Spire, I actually used to run thicker builds, thicker decks, which worked surprisingly well. Unlike in the Slay the Spire 2. Slay the Spire 2 does really want you to run thinner decks for the most part. It doesn't mean that the thick decks do not work, it's just they are, in my opinion, harder to pull off. Like you definitely will have easier time progressing, and just you'll be more consistent if you keep your decks under 25 cards. honestly, 25 seems like the limit. I would probably prefer having even less cards. Luckily for me, again, the tyranny that I picked up early is doing some heavy lifting here. It is thinning out our deck as the fight progresses. So you know, we are kind of uh, um, what's the word? Offsetting the thickness of the deck. Nothing too exciting for me to enhance here, but might as well do something. I figured, well, we are always using Tyranny, so we might as well get some value out of it. Here, extra block is nice, probably, but really, we don't even need upgrades. The upgrades are not that strong for the most part. Like, definitely upgrade if you have an opportunity to do so, but at this point, like having that extra block on the reflect didn't feel like it would make any difference whatsoever. And the only reason I picked up the T set there was because I saw that we are about to have a rest right before the elite, so it will likely save me some HP in the fight. And there are some, dangerous fights in the Act 3. But unfortunately, we get an enemy in the in the event, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, we do get Tyranny with the draw here, though. Yeah. Burning defenses and just trying to deal damage here. This fight isn't particularly dangerous to us because, well, I mean, we have some powers, but we don't really need to use any of them. Like, even Tyranny wasn't exactly something that we needed, but we had an opportunity to use it, so that's what we went for. And yeah, Summon Forth once again, saving the run. Alright, no, I'm kidding. It's not saving the run, but it's definitely making things move faster. And we actually pick up the second Summon Forth. I picked it up quickly because even if we get two of them in the same hand, which is possible but is not super likely, just the ability to use the sword, pull it back, use it, and pull it back again next turn is just too good to pass. It's a bit of a safety for me in case I really need the sword to wrap things up. Here the draw wasn't perfect. I was definitely, trying not to lose too many cards here, especially Sovereign Blade. So I had to use it. Luckily, we did have enough there, so we're fine. But still, felt uncomfortable with the prospect of losing it. But now, as I'm commenting this, I realize I could have just forged again and gotten a new sword anyway. So I should not have been that worried. Getting a little bit of block here simply because, we're getting hit quite a bit, and I really didn't want to use the rest site to heal up right before the boss. It felt better to upgrade, even though I just said we don't really need all those upgrades, but before the final boss of the act, or currently of the game, it's better to get an extra upgrade just in case that extra 3 block or whatever makes a difference. Another upgraded Summon Forth, so we now have 3 ways to pull the Sovereign Blade back from anywhere, which is amazing. And yeah, this fight is not too dangerous for us because we're not using too many skills. We have some, obviously, but for the most part, like we don't have to use them. I went for the summon fourth. I knew the risk, but I looked at the damage, and we're blocked, and we're fine here. We don't really need the Seeking Edge here, but, you know, it's still Forge, what, 7? 11? 11. It's still upgrading our primary damage dealing ability, so no reason not to do it, right? And here, I used Glow just to see if we can, you know, pull something, but we didn't have the stars, although we had Hidden Cache, so we could have definitely used it. And here we got Void Form on the turn when the enemy was already transitioning to the next phase, so it was just perfect. And now we get free cards, free 2 cards every turn. And with the Sovereign Blade, that's just incredible, right? Yeah, here I should do the Conqueror and Summon Forth, like, without even thinking about it. I'm not sure what the decision-making process was at that point. It was obviously flawed and incorrect, but I came to the right conclusion afterwards. And here I was a bit annoyed. I forgot the enemy is intangible. So, you know, I cannot really do the Summon Forth and deal damage to them, but we can prepare for it for the next turn. And yeah, again, we get some free attacks. Realistically, it should have been Sovereign Blade, Summon Forth, Summon Sovereign Blade, but I misplayed it, and it still turns out just fine. So yeah, anyway, that's a Sovereign Blade build for you. You just need a couple of cards, really, and you're fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time.